This is my 2006 Ford F-350 6.0 Super Duty with 310,000 miles. What did I do? So one thing that I do want to talk about with this truck is the reasons why I decided to purchase this truck, the dreaded 6.0 Super Duty. With 310,000 miles, probably not the smartest thing to do. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at it. Before we start talking about what's going on with the truck, because it does have some issues, we're just gonna go ahead and look at the body. So let's go ahead and do that now. This is my 2006 Ford F-350 6.0 Super Duty, 310,000 miles. Alright, so the first thing, yep, just like every diesel, got a little bit of leaking going on. I know where it's coming from. We'll go ahead and talk about that a little later. Right now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over the cosmetics. So we're gonna look at some of the cosmetic issues that are going on with the truck. Okay, so we'll start from the back. So what I can tell from this truck, you can clearly see not an F-250. So, you can see tailgate was obviously replaced at some point. It was a work truck from my knowledge, so you know that's par for the course. And then looking down here, you know, bumper is in decent shape. It's got some dings, so that'll be replaced. You know, hitch definitely got a little bit of rust on it. And then we got 33s with 20-inch wheels. Not terrible. Take a look. You see, got some normal rust on the frame. We'll try to get that cleaned up. Leaf springs look pretty decent, but they'll probably get replaced as well. So the one thing when I look at this, clearly the bed has some issues. Clearly the bed has some issues. You can see, I don't know if this is primer, whether it was maybe some Bondo work was done to it, but it does look like somebody tried to fix that. You can see maybe they were, I don't know what they were doing here, but the chrome looks like it's in good shape. So, 350 Super Duty. It is the dreaded 6.0. Grill is actually in fairly decent shape, so that's nice. It runs pretty good, but we'll actually talk about that. So you can see this side, bed issues as well. You know, it's in fairly good shape though. The cab has a minor little bit of issues on it, but the cab I'm not so much worried about. You can see it's gonna have some paint work that I'll have to get fixed here. Looking at some paint issues here. This mirror does not work, so this mirror, we're probably just gonna replace them. I think they're super ugly anyway. You know, but it's a nice looking truck. It definitely has issues with the bed, so we'll take a look. so here's some issues with the bed. Got tons of tie down. Here's issues with the bed. We got a lot of rust on it. This is what happens when you have a work truck and you don't bed liner. You're just prone to having these issues. So hopefully it's still in good shape and we can get that all cleaned up. So a really big seller for me when I bought this truck is the interior. Looks amazing. I mean, a little bit of stain in here, no big deal, whatever. But you could see no tears in the leather. Looks really, really sharp. Super clean in here. Can't get that thing to close, but yeah, so the interior, it looks phenomenal. We'll look at that in a minute. So yeah, the interior looks great. It does, it looks fantastic. It had new carpet installed. The guy told me that he had the seats reupholstered. So that was actually a big selling point for me, is this truck, because it gives me a good platform to work with. Got the lariat going on. So it's got that upgraded head unit, so we're gonna have to take that out so we can hook up a backup camera, because with having the crew cab, long bed, I think best case scenario is that we get that. Make my life easier, we get a backup camera. For the most part, you know, it's really clean. I checked the blow-by on it. Ooh, it's getting a little warm. I checked the blow-by on it. The blow-by was good. And then we'll talk about what I've already done to the truck. So when I first got the truck, the EGR valve, I had a check engine light come on, so I replaced the EGR valve. That resolved my issue. I had a shop look at what's going on. It looks like this plastic intercooler tube. I don't know why Ford decided to use that, but this is cracked. This is where it's leaking from. So when I start it up and it's warmed up, this starts leaking. Looks like there's a little bit of tinfoil on the oil stick to stop it from a little bit of blow-by coming out. This was melted, so I'll be replacing that soon. We'll go ahead and fix this. Might just put like a bolt and a washer in a couple spots and hold it back into place so that it keeps everything away. That shouldn't be too hard. Another issue that I had is this right here. So this thing started pissing coolant, because right there you can see my this plastic piece for the heater core that broke. So I got that replaced. The coolant leak stopped, and then I had coolant flush done on it. So once I got the coolant flush done on it and replaced that leaking part, it's good to go. Not leaking any more coolant. Probably get an upgraded one of these soon. The batteries are still working really good. So let's go ahead and show you guys a cold start. Okay, so this right here is why I bought this truck. So like I said, these 6.0s, they have very common problems where if they're not addressed, you can be sure that you're gonna have issues, major issues. Okay, so right here you can see the EGR cooler was replaced. Big problem with these trucks. So I was very comfortable buying this truck. Maybe I shouldn't have been, because I've had nothing but issues since I bought this truck. EGR cooler replaced. Next thing you can see, oil cooler. Another major issue with these trucks. The oil cooler would get blocked up with coolant, and then the oil would be the only thing that would flow, and it would not be cooled, and it would cause massive issues with this truck. So again, this was replaced. These two things right here, you know, major issues with these trucks that cause them to be unreliable, but they have been replaced, and they were only replaced about 1,500 miles ago. So I know that these are new. You know, we have glow plugs, we just have some things that have been done with this truck that makes me a little bit more comfortable buying a 6.0, especially one that has, I mean, 310,000 miles. It's no joke. See, the bill came out. That's not a bill that I wanted. You know what I mean? I was happy when I saw that, because then I knew if I had this truck and it didn't have these repairs on it, then I would have problems. So I started to have issues with the truck, so I took it to a shop. I know nothing about diesels. This is my first diesel. This is me trying to learn. This is me trying to understand. You know, this is me trying to understand what's going on with it. So you can see 4 bad injectors. Problem, right? One of them's pretty bad. You can see a couple of them are only -8 compression, but one of the, you know, they are bad. They need to be replaced. Very common, from my understanding, for injectors to go out around 200 to 300,000 miles. So this is to be expected. I knew that something was going on because there's kind of a hard cold start. Sometimes it struggles a little bit to get started, and after it does get started and it is at operating temperature, it does run a lot better. But this is something that does need to be addressed very soon. You know, this I'm going to try to do myself, and this is another thing that we can kind of look at in the future. So that is something to be aware about with these trucks. Another thing, see, the main oil leak is coming from the cracked intercooler pipe on the cold side. So the plastic pipe is cracked. I have a new one coming. We'll do that replacement, and I'll show you guys why I chose the part that I did, because there's a lot of different options for these intercooler pipes. They did tell me that the glow plug harness, that those do need to be replaced, so we'll also be doing that as well. And it is leaking a little bit, so we can replace those. See, here's what I look at, right? So I see that they're only reporting, they're only claiming that it'll take them a half an hour to get both of these fixed. If I see something where it can be done within a half hour, I'm going to replace it myself. You know, that is not a big deal to me. So they're claiming labor, 30 minutes to be done. Fine, I could do that for sure. And that's what I want you guys to look at as well. So when you look at the labor, this is professional diesel mechanics saying that it would take them 6 hours to replace 4 injectors. So for me, that's going to be a much harder thing to get done. And they want to replace all 8, obviously, and $1,700 for injectors, and then $110 an hour. So this is another thing. This is things that are currently needing to be replaced on the truck, and we're going to try to do our best to get them replaced. I replaced the heater core valve, and while I was trying to find out where it was broken from, I was putting more water in it. I got a little bit of coolant. I was putting coolant in it. I was trying to find out where the leak was coming from. So I did not know the mixture of coolant, water, or anything in the truck. So just to be safe, I took it over to a Jiffy Lube. The reason why I chose to have the coolant flushed is because I was trying to diagnose where it was at, because a lot of the coolant that was coming out looked like straight water. I almost couldn't tell that it was coolant. So I had them do the coolant flush on the truck, and they put an additive in it as well. So once they put the additive in, they put the right mixture of coolant and they got everything out of it, you know, I felt a lot safer driving with this than the unknown mixture of water. Like I said, when it was leaking, you know, I could barely smell, I could barely taste. I couldn't, it really didn't feel like there was much coolant in there at all. So then I got that all fixed. It's not leaking that anymore. We do have the small oil leak from the intercooler pipe, which should be coming tomorrow. So I'm gonna make a video on getting that replaced, why I picked that. You know, a lot of you guys probably see that I bought a 6.0 and you're gonna be like, what did you do? And I don't blame you. You know, I have a friend who's a 7.3 guy, and he tried to tell me over and over again, do not buy a 6.0. However, I found a good deal on one, and he told me, you know what, just stay away from an 03 and 04, the early years of the 6.0. Should be okay with this. I took it right over to his house after I bought it. We took a look at it. Everything seemed like it was halfway decent. So, you know, we went ahead and got it for the channel. So I'm excited. I want to keep going with this. We'll put bed liner in it. You know, please comment below, what do you think I should do to it? I don't think that with this motor having 310,000 miles is I'm going to spend a ton of money into getting this, you know, tons and tons of horsepower and just burning it out. I think that what I want to do is I want to address some of the major issues that these trucks have. I mainly want to keep this stock. We'll probably put an air intake on it, probably the S&B, and then we will also put an exhaust on it. You know, I'm gonna lift it. I'm gonna put bigger wheels and tires on it, and we'll just kind of go from there. I don't think that there's gonna be a whole bunch that I do to it. So, you know, please follow the channel, follow the build. If you like this video, you know, please go ahead and show some support. Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.